Well, hi there, welcome back. Dan again from Clean Guru. So a building that you're bidding on, when you're talking to them about the specifications and what they need done, they say, hey, by the way, why don't you include in your price providing all of the consumable poly paper supplies? So hand towels, hand soap, toilet paper, those kinds of things. Now, it's real tempting to say, oh, no problem, I will. And certainly I get why you want to do that. You know, you're trying to create connections by adding additional services. But if that ends up costing you money and you're losing because you're not able to track the supplies properly and you underestimated their usage, or you're not pricing them, you know, in terms of how expensive they are as far as that goes. And let's say you say, I'll charge you $350 a month and I'll always make sure you have enough toilet paper, hand towels, hand soap, all of your consumable supplies. Well, a bell should go off, because that's really hard to do. Now, there's ways around this to try to deal with this, because if you can do it profitably, that's a good service to be able to offer to them, and you can make money on providing them. But there's a lot of ifs in there. First of all, to estimate the usage, like I say, we have a calculator that can help to estimate based on the number of people in the building using the building. Restroom, break room, those kinds of things. But it is an estimate of usage, and then an estimate, therefore, based on, for just really not all items, but we have it set up for hand towels, hand soap, toilet tissue, just a few items, because it's that difficult. And even then, that is a cost estimate. From there, you would need to, you know, mark up from there to make money on that. Well, I think we used to mark up possibly 20% seems to come to mind, but that's up to you. But the point is, it's an estimate of usage, and then it's a cost plus basis of a profit that you want built in percentage-wise. However, if it's at all possible, another way to go is to say, there's no problem, I can take care of the supplies, but because usage is such a variable thing, and by the way, let me stop and tell you, not only that, sometimes we notice, you know, and you can see this too, sometimes the toilet paper walks out of the building and people, there's stealing that goes on. I mean, that's just the truth. Not a lot of this, but it can happen. Or maybe the building, they have a plant down the road or in a little nearby city, and all of a sudden they're emptying all the supplies out of there, and they go, hey, we're out of supplies. And you want to say, well, they're all down the end of the road, because you think that. This can create an awkward situation. This usage issue can be really, make it vulnerable. So if you say, well, I'll tell you what we can do is every time we'll track it. We'll track the inventory, and we'll know there's a reorder point. And when we notice that the supplies get to this point on all these items, we'll reorder and we'll bring it out here. We'll restock it, and we'll just charge you on a line item on your invoice that says the price that we did for providing those. That's fine. That's one way to go. If they don't want to go that way and they force your hand to provide them, another way, I suppose, is to say, listen, do you happen to have a year or two of your usage? And they may say, well, yeah, here's a record of what we've used for all these different items. Again, that is an indication, but it's not a guarantee. So you do go into that with a little bit of vulnerability as to how that's going to go. We like to provide them based on us tracking them, ordering them when they needed them, and then the money we made was simply when, on the line item, the difference between the cost and the profit markup that we had. And so that's how we did it. So just be careful when this concept or this idea of asking you to provide the poly paper consumable supplies, give it some thought on usage and pricing all along the way, so you don't end up regretting it. Then all of a sudden, the money that you're maybe making on cleaning, you're actually losing when you're providing the supplies. Till next time, remember, you can do this. You really can.